You know, the Godwell is one of the few people who I'm actually interested who they are because so much of their transactions are super interesting. Like what they convey in a behavior. That is a very, very interesting set of transactions on a wallet. I would really love to know who that guy is. I don't want to dox him. Like I wouldn't even need his name or information. I'd just be curious, like a cliff notes of his story, so that I could stack up the person and the transactions. Like surely that guy has to be just an extraordinarily high net worth outside of crypto, right? Like to have that amount of value and composure, to have high 8 and 9 figures sitting in crypto for that length of time, the composure and the way. I mean, he's definitely pulled funds out, but never, the smallest percentages of his actual holdings. To not want to add behaviors or like a name to that kind of wallet, everything. I just find there's a lot going on with that wallet. I'd love to have some answers to. Again, I wouldn't even need him docs. I'd just be curious again about pairing the behaviors with the transactions.
And me personally, I've looked into a lot. I've read his tweets a lot to try to connect or try to visualize, try to understand. And to be honest, like, let me think how to frame this, what I want to say. Just give me a second.
I think it's a kid. I think it's someone that's young, thinks out of the box, has a different risk tolerance.
Really?
Yeah, that has a different risk tolerance.
That's interesting. I actually, if I just was like taking a guess, I would have actually almost chosen the exact other end of the spectrum.
I don't think this person is European. I don't think he's American. I class him in a different territory with a different education background.
I think it's someone, like you're saying, that has a different education than its background, because it's fascinating how the risk tolerance it uses, especially when it comes to crypto. It really goes very mathematically. Even its early decisions were very mathematical. And usually a very intelligent math whiz or very young, they lose it by the age of an old man. Because they've seen too much. The most people active in crypto are usually younger people.
I'm pretty sure that they're from Asian descendant.
I wouldn't doubt it. He was an early ETH.
But if you look at like the timelines, how like Europeans invest, they're very, they're very short-term mindseted. But if you take into Asian minds, they're very long-term. They don't look 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. They look 100 year and they pass it down lineage, especially like Chinese type orientated type people. And that is why, especially with some of the English language used inside of the tweets, they are obviously highly educated in certain forms, but I would not say that the English used, much like people try to decode Satoshi, right? They try to find all these little clues inside of what's said, which is why these people are so fucking shy to say anything, because they know everything is analyzed. And there were periods when Richard was inside of Asia, inside of certain locations, inside of China, inside of Singapore. I'm not mentioning anything in particular, but there were times that maybe elbows rubbed and came up with ideas. So I assume that maybe it might be a friend. But
Are you saying it's John McAfee?
But that would be fucking gangster, right?
What would be considered like an individual fortune in Hex, like, between 1 and 10 million, you could have a huge effect. And like, obviously you could have big splash plays and wreck prices and large stakes and, roll stakes and take out a lot, right? Kind of like a variety of OG sharks. There's a lot of interesting things there. But when you look at a participant the size of Godwell, his staking behavior can actually like move incentives in the whole system. So his staking behavior on like these 45 days, constantly ratcheting up the T-share rate, it's increasing like the compounding effect. So the shares that were bought before it they're less expensive than what it takes to get the current shares. So every time he ratchets that up faster, it starts to like backload that yield. Basically moves the incentive from more T-shares to like how powerful each T-share is, that makes the original T-shares more valuable. So the higher the acquisition cost makes the previous acquisitions more valuable. So every time he does these things, he's making like his giant quad 5 stake more valuable, and he's making all the OG stakes and the longer term value. So every time he does this and keeps pushing the share up faster, he's making every previous T-share made more valuable. So like that actually, like he can actually change the way these payouts results will affect like years down the road. Like you can be a very wealthy person and not really move the system, and Godwell actually moves the system.
Exactly. So this is incentivizing people to get in and stake because the value of the T-share is going to increase again and again and again. Instead of like, Godwell selling or doing liquidity or anything, these don't benefit the bag, right? It actually creates a negative impact in the market because no matter what they do, if they sell, it's going to be bearish. But if they are creating ratcheting effects, it's bullish. That's effectively what they're going to do because they're going to move the T-share value away from the market. And this is very fucking bullish for Pulsechain too, because at the end of the day, all of the liquid availability is going to drain out of the DEXs and it's going to be absorbed by the market that are eventually going to lock it up because they're going to see the ratcheting effect that they don't want to be left behind in, which is going to be another driving force into anyone else that finally clicks in and clocks on to what's actually occurring to buy it and to stake it because the Godwell is going to keep on ratcheting up the system. So you're either in it or you're fucking not. And if you're not, you're going to need a lot more money to come join this fucking game. It's that simple. And then bolt Pulsechain onto it. And then Pulsechain, all these free claims, everyone coming into the system are going to see this chart going exponential. You don't get it? You don't see it? So who gives a fuck about liquidity? Because the mathematics of the system, Wales only told you, everybody told you. This is mathematics that this God whale understands. He gave everybody enough time to get on board, to try to learn it. Everybody's like gambling and playing and doing this long shit, short shit, trying to trade this shit. He's like, you guys, I gave you enough fucking time. You're too retarded. You're too stupid. Now I'm going to fucking game this thing against you. I've already got my bag. I was friendly. I tried to give you opportunity. Now it's fucking go. Now we're going to ratchet that shit. Maybe it takes 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, but he's going to climb that shit so fast. Nobody has any ability to change it. Nobody. So let's see if they fucking ratchet it. If they do 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, okay. They're going to do it every other fucking month. Why? Why not? Why would they stop? Why would they go to fucking liquid? They won't. Why? Because they need to protect what is their long-term investment. They need to cash people out along the way to maximize the entire return for themselves later on too. It's like an Oris Boris, It's so fucking simple, but like people are so dumb. And that's why I'm trading it all in between these ranges now. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? The game is to get into the system, can follow the system. That's it. Simple. Because mathematically, it cannot be anything else but. These guys are like forefront fighters telling you what's going to happen because these are the smartest motherfuckers there. And they're in it. They're long. and the big money's long. Guy that created everything is long. So everyone else just mincing themselves.
If you look at that staking behavior, Godwell is actually buying yield with opportunity cost, because every time he stakes and raises that T-share rate, it shrinks the pool by increasing the amount of energy that has to come in and purchase another T-share. So every time he ratchets it up, there's less T-shares in existence, and that keeps his yield high. So by having long-term stakes, every time he ratchets the T-share rate up, he's essentially buying yield every single day for his older previous stakes, because his acquisition cost doesn't change and everyone else's new share rate gets higher. So he literally is using that bag and buying yield with opportunity cost.
Yeah,